Okay, so we've got our wrench basically laid out here. This is going to go on this end, and I think it'll just go inside of that. So I think what we want to do now is clamp these together. All right, from there, we can tack ourselves together on these corners. Let's go ahead and grind that. Well, there's not a whole lot to grind there. Let's see. Well, we're definitely going to need to grind something, though. Okay, that's better. We got everything down. Let's go ahead and preheat everything here. Does it still fit? Probably not. No, it's too tight. But you know, either we can come in and mill it out a little bit, or once it cools, it'll be better. So we'll just let this cool and see how it ends up once we get it done. Okay, the next part of our little program here, and I'm just going to turn this so you can see it a little better. Of course, eventually it's not going to be turned on the well, it will be actually turned somewhat like this, because we have to cut this V in the block. And in order to do that, of course, we have to set the block up so that it can go this direction and be turned. So, but for right now, we got to lay this out. And let me get myself a square. Set it right on 90. Okay, we're going to run ourselves a line right up the center of this. And that will give us our center line, and we'll be right back. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to figure out what the degrees are in that. And, you know, of course I cut these, but I can't remember what it is. So my protractor won't reach that far, so I've taken a tool bit and just kind of dropped my tool bit right in until it matches up. And it looks like it's pretty good at this point. Well, no, a little bit off. So let's add another degree or two and see what we come up with here. And that's too much. Now, if I remember correctly, it was 15 degrees now that I think of it. That's it. And I could just kind of go by sense of feel and see how this thing feels going across that top edge. So we have, what do we have here? We have, I'd say 14 degrees, but more like 14 and a quarter. Okay, so we've got our lines drawn. We're pretty well set to go. Now what I need to do, and I've got a good square edge here to work from. Oh, no, it isn't a square edge. Oh, yes, it is. I got a good square edge to work from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to indicate this bottom edge and set it up with the mill so that this piece runs parallel with the mill, and then come in and cut my slots. Okay, so we've got an indicator on our block, and we're going to run it up and down the block to see what we've got as far as squareness to the mill's concerned. But I think before we do anything, we need to get this block of steel kind of locked down so that it is so that it doesn't move around once we actually do get it set up. All right, we're set. Now, we're going to run this back and forth until we get a decent measurement. And if you can see that, we're sitting probably at about 10 or so off. So let's wang that around a little bit. Let's see what that's going to do. Much better, but we're still fairly off. Okay, so we've got it. And it seemed like it was running just a little bit weak, so I put a second clamp on here, and I think we're set to go, ready for cutting. Let's see what we can do here. We're going to come in right on that edge and come down. So I think we could actually rough this out with this big bit. Okay, so we're going to start our cut right here, and we're going to take it down to this point here, and we'll just keep working our way down until we get to the depth we need. And the depth is, let's see, well, we don't have to worry about it now. We got a long ways to go. So let's get a little oil. Okay, we've reached our depth and our, well, depth both ways. Depth that way and this direction. Now we just want to come back in and clean up this one little step right here. and I think I can do that pretty easily. Okay, now we've got that side roughed out. We've still got to rotate this around and get this angle nice and clean. But first I need to come in with a finished bit and clean up this surface here before we disassemble this setup. All right, let's come in just a little bit closer. Okay, the whole thing, that whole line is smooth as a baby's butt. It's very smooth. We got that in really good shape. So now what we have to do is rotate this thing back to the other direction and do this side here. So we will disassemble this entire assembly and be back in a minute. Okay, now we've set up the other side. Now we're just going to hog out this other side and see what we can come up with. Okay, we're down to within about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. So I think it's time to go ahead and put our finished bit in and take our finished cut on that. Okay, we've got the other side cut and finished. Battery went dead on me and I didn't notice that, so we didn't get that last cut. But we've got that. Now what I want to do is bring this thing back to square. And if you'll notice, and maybe I'll just drag you in there. Let's see if we can see it. There's an area right here that stands a little taller than these two areas. So what I want to do is I want to be able to come right down the center of that area and take that down, and then also continue down here, and I need to make a 7/8 or maybe even a 1-inch hole or slot all the way down the center of this. So we will do that, and we're going to set the block back up again. And square, and then go ahead and make that cut. Good morning, Nick Collier here, and it's Tuesday morning, the day after Martin Luther King Day. We are ready to rock and roll here. What I'm doing is I got the two V's cut as we did yesterday. Now I'm going to cut that one center groove right down the center, and I'm just doing one whole cut at a time. All I have to do is, I got my automatic feed going. All I got to do is just let her rip. And it's going just a little bit at a time. But we're getting good cut there. Now, the one thing, I woke up last night, oh my God, I woke up in the middle of the night just freaked that I had cut that V the wrong direction. Sure enough, I come down this morning, I have cut it in the wrong direction. But at the same time, we're going to try to figure out what happened. Get things rolling again there. Not what happened, because of course what happened is a total bonehead move. I calculated, I got everything all laid out just the way I wanted, and then I spun it around to cut from the other side, and I forgot to readjust my cut, turn my cut around. So, I don't know, whatever. But, I got up, I don't know, 2:30 this morning, I was walking around going, oh my God, I really screwed up. I'm going to have to start again. So, but I thought about it, and I think what I'm going to do is there's a shoulder, and we saw that earlier in the video. There's a shoulder that the rams sit on. All I have to do is cut that shoulder out on that side, bring it over, and bring the shoulder over to this side. So what I'm going to end up doing is threading the first part of this. Oh, let me bring you in. What you looking for? No. They're real tight. Of course they are. Toyota put them in. Hang on, I'll show you how to. Okay, we cut the V through, or not the V, but the cable slot. And now we're coming back and we're taking 30 thousandths off each side. And then once we do that, we'll come back with a finished bit and take another 5 or 10 off each side. And we'll be done with that. So, we're almost out. And that's going to square up that edge, because as that bit comes all the way through, we cut that whole section at one time, and as the bit comes through, it'll tend to walk around a little bit. All right, let's stop there, and we're going to go back to 0 and then over to 30. And then come back. We'll be back. Okay, at this point all we're doing is coming in and doing a little cleanup on this edge right here, because there's just a bit of a glitch at the top of that, and we're gonna probably take that in about 30 thousandths and then come back to the other side and do the same thing. It'll also give us just a little bit more room for the retainer plate. Okay, so we've got to put 4 holes in this flat plate right here, flat area right here, and then we're going to put a metal plate in here to keep the wedges from coming out. So what I've done is I'm going to use the Bridgeport to make my measurements. What I've done is I've centered myself on that very corner right there. I'm going to zero myself out on both directions. Bring it back up, and take myself in halfway, or approximately halfway, it doesn't really matter, someplace right in there, and that is 402, so let's just take it back to 400. All right, and then drop it down on the metal, but just a little bit of pressure on it, and drag it across. Okay, that gives us a nice good solid line to work from, and then we'll come back to 0, and then over to this side, and drop it down. Come in just a little further. Click that. We're going to move over 400 thousandths. $399, 400. Oops, down just a little bit. Can we make it? Yeah. Strike our line. And then what we want to do is come in someplace right around here. I'm just, just throwing out random numbers here because it doesn't really matter. And we're going to go across, and that's going to be our one cross measurement. And then there's our second cross measurement. And then we'll come on down to the bottom here someplace, right maybe there. And again, it doesn't really matter. There's a cross. And there's one. Okay. So we'll get a centering tool. Our centering drill. Now we'll pick our tab follower up and put it away. Center drill.